Our daily Bible reading for May 11th. Our reading today comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 4. We'll begin reading in verse 1. Now when Jesus learned that the Pharisees had heard that Jesus was making and baptizing more disciples than John, although Jesus himself did not baptize, but only his disciples, he left Judea and departed again for Galilee. And he had to pass through Samaria. So he came to a town of Samaria called Sychar, near the field that Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, so Jesus, wearied as he was from his journey, was sitting beside the well. It was about the 6th hour. A woman from Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink." For his disciples had gone into the city to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, "How is it that you, a Jew, ask for a drink from me, a woman of Samaria? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans." Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that is saying to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." The woman said to him, "Sir, you have nothing to draw water with, and the well is deep. Where do you get that living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob? He gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did his sons and his livestock." Jesus said to her, "Everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks of the water that I will give him will never be thirsty again. The water that I give him will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life." The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water so that I will not be thirsty or have to come here to draw water." Jesus said to her, "Go call your husband and come here." The woman answered him, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You are right in saying, 'I have no husband,' for you have had 5 husbands, and the one you now have is not your husband. What you have said is true." The woman said to him, "Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that in Jerusalem is a place where people ought to worship." Jesus said to her, "Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We worship what we know, for salvation is from the Jews. But the hour is coming and is now here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." The woman said to him, "I know that Messiah is coming, he who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things." Jesus said to her, "I who speak to you am he." Our thoughts for today. It was stated recently in a political setting that perhaps the most divided and segregated time in our country is the worship hour on Sunday. This is sad but true. The very thing that ought to bring us together is that which divides us the deepest. We may think this is a problem peculiar to our day and age, but it is hardly something new. For millennia, man has been divided over his beliefs. It is a disturbing and troublesome issue, one which smacks of hypocrisy. How can those who preach peace, unity, and harmony be at such odds with those of like minds and faith in the one true God? Jesus finds himself at the center of this issue of the controversy that had existed between the 10 northern tribes and the southern tribes of Judah and Benjamin. This chasm had existed for nearly 1,000 years, since the days of Rehoboam and Jeroboam, following the death of King Solomon. The tribes, unable to come to terms with the strict rule of Rehoboam, split, never again to be united. The woman whom Jesus meets at the well was of the Samaritans, the northern kingdom. These had not only gone after idolatrous worship several hundred years earlier, but were exiled by the Syrian government and then integrated with foreign people who lived and intermarried the remaining Israelites. This was seen as an abomination by those of the tribe of Judah and Benjamin, thus forever forming a wall of partition between the two sides. The issue of where and how to worship God comes into the discussion. The woman brings up the very crux of the argument. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and you people say that Jerusalem is a place where men ought to worship, in verse 20. By his answer, Jesus cuts through the endless wrangling that had existed between the sides and states plainly what the future will be like. "Woman, believe me, an hour is coming when neither in this mountain nor in Jerusalem shall you worship the Father. in verse 21. What a revolutionary thought. Jesus gives the basis of what God is truly seeking from men. It will not be centered around a mountain or a city. True worship will be from the heart and will be done in truth and in spirit. And a question of the day. Have you considered the extent of your worship to God, whether it is done in the spirit of which God intended and in the true way He desires? And a thought to meditate on this day. Seeing ourselves as a part of the collective worldwide church is an awesome feeling. Seeking to be a unifying force for God's kingdom as peacemakers is what we are called to do. And those are our thoughts for today, May 11th.